Hello everyone, I'm happy to say I've been given exclusive access to this new and improved version of EU5, which now that Tencent has brought out Paradox Interactive, has seen some changes. First, I've been told by my handler that I now have a handler, and that I can't talk about the treatment of Uyghur Muslims, I can't talk about Tiananmen Square, and I can't talk about Winnie the Pooh, although there is nothing said about Piglet or Eeyore, so I'm glad the rest of the Christopher Robin cinematic universe is tolerated. Anyway, as you can see, we have the new loading screen ahead of us here. Although because this update is just so new and so improved, there are some issues. For one, it's claiming that it's still running on the Clausius engine, which is absolutely incorrect. Tencent cannot run an AI data center on your PC using just the one core, so the game has been rewritten for Ren'Py as EU5 takes on a brave new direction as an anime dating simulator, where you run around 1337 Europe and you need to royal marry everyone. I think this is a really innovative approach. EU5 has always been committed to realism, so to achieve that, Tencent has streamlined all non-anime girl-based gameplay options. Now you may be worried this new direction is not family friendly, but I say families have to get started somehow, and with that let's get straight into the game. So the save I've been playing is pretty late into EV, I'm starting to get into IV now, and yeah, here we are in that save as mentioned. So I did actually have a previous playthrough of this, but there's been just so many updates, Tencent's been really putting into work to making EU5 the best game possible, which means that my old save, which got pretty late, I believe around ZPM, is no longer, well, functional, so I've gone back to this version, I've started again, and I mean, I don't think I've been doing too badly. This specific room, I'm working through the plat line. So for example, in here, I'm mixing my nitric acid because the nitric acid is what we need for aqua regia. I'm actually out of hydrochloric acid at the moment in this processing line, but just so you can see what's going on, we can acquire platinum metallic powder dust from things like processing, well, iridium or sure, but usually it's nickel ore as, I think, is our main source of byproduct for it. Platinum ore, obviously, yeah, but the nickel ore is usually where we get our platinum metallic powder dust, especially through mercury chemical bath ore washing. That being said, once we've acquired this platinum metallic powder dust, what we need to do is we need to react it with this aqua regia to be able to get our platinum concentrate and tiny parts of platinum residue dust. We're actually going straight into the Circuit 9 recipe to get the platinum residue dust in immediate dust form here and get a lot of this platinum concentrate. Now, of course, that's not the final step of the processing. We then need to centrifuge with ammonium chloride and get a whole bunch of stuff here, like this tiny reciprocated platinum dust, which is actually where the platinum mainly comes from. We need to run it through calcium to get calcium chloride, but this is actually a good thing as we're able to recycle the calcium chloride back through electrolysis into the calcium and get some of our chlorine back. So that's nice, because as you may recall previously, this entire thing is actually pretty aqua regia intensive. And so we do want to get our nitric acid and hydrochloric acid back. What is, of course, very nice for us is that we do get a bunch of nitrogen dioxide back from here. Nitrogen dioxide does recycle with oxygen and water back into nitric acid, so that's neat. But unfortunately, we have to process this palladium-enriched ammonia to get our ammonia back, because this ammonium chloride is pretty expensive. Ammonia is quite hard to replace, so it's something that we'd like to set up as a loop. And the palladium-enriched ammonia processing, well, I mean, the entire processing line is happening over here. This is a bit more of a temporary setup, but the palladium processing is actually happening over here. We have our export plus and palladium over here, but we are out of palladium-enriched ammonia because, as you guessed previously, we're out of ammonia. We have our sifters and working through all of that. The final step here, though, unfortunately for that, we do need sodium formate, because sodium formate mixes with, of course, sulfuric acid to make formic acid. And this formic acid will need to combine with this reciprocated palladium dust to actually get our palladium and get our ammonia recycling. Reciprocated palladium dust, of course, comes from palladium metallic dust and palladium enriched ammonia, combining it to palladium salt and reciprocated palladium dust. And this palladium salt is very nice because we can actually sift it back into palladium metallic powder dust, which we're then able to run through this loop again. So that is neat and that's all good there, but of course we do need to get the formic acid production going, and that's kind of what we've started setting up over here. Now there are of course a lot of other issues because this isn't still going to be a full recycling line. If we take a look back at this platinum line over here, a good chunk of the ammonium chloride actually gets stuck, not within this step specifically, but inside the previous steps, inside of this platinum residue dust. Now this platinum residue dust is a whole pain to process. We need to go make molten potassium disulfate, which we can EBF down to a leach residue dust and rhodium sulfate. And of course, the leach residue dust is a whole processing line all of its own, so that's just fun and games over there. I am not looking forward to that, but something we're going to have to do for the plat line. That being said, of course, you may be asking why I'm not using more multi-blocks for this. This is actually meant to be the temporary setup. I'm going to be setting up the plat line more properly at the new base as I'm moving out of here. So we have the chemical basement down in here that makes a lot of stuff. For example, processing our salt route, which is where we're getting a lot of our chlorine, for example. And here we have a steam grinder that is set up to very slowly but surely work through a bunch of deep slate. Coming from the stock breaker, to be clear, And this entire line back here is just deep state processing. It's a bit of a mess. Sorry, I wasn't expecting guests, but I mean, I was just playing this for myself. I wasn't really thinking of making a video out of this. And this is where a lot of our base resources actually comes from this deep state processing. So that's quite nice. It's a bit of a passive way to gain things like silver dust and arsenic and cobalt and boron. Boron is very helpful for silicate glass, of course, and magnesium dust. And here we have the tungstate processing line. That's been very, very helpful to set up. But as you can see, kind of just shoved it to the side of this room here, just put it into the corner. It's a bit awkward. I'm very not proud of the artistic choices there. Anyway, over here though, in this room, in this like underground laboratory, yeah, this is where we're growing all of our void. And yeah, as you can see, we have the basic alloy smelter here. Smelts it up into the void. At the moment, I've switched it over to thorium nuggets, so that's something to bear in mind. And we could double the capacity, but I haven't had an issue with both void and thorium nuggets, so I haven't been doubling the capacity. And yeah, here we have the production line on Don't Laugh, but of all things, we're making argon in case you want to build stuff with it. Going upstairs now, we can see a bunch of our farms set up here, nothing too fancy. Got some IC2 crops growing. We are, what are we growing over here? We've got some mercury growing. We've got some shimmer leaf going. We've got our rapeseed oil. We've got our thick reed. And we've got, of course, some black stone lilies as we're processing that down for some of its more base materials. We've got a massive field of peanuts growing because we need some, well, oil. Although I think once we get the rapeseed going, that's going to be a better source for that. We just haven't got around to it, to be fully honest. And the entire base is powered through benzene, so that's garden soil, all growing oak logs. We have a bit of a dimensional transceiver set up for that system later, but yeah, we're just growing these oak logs. Now the old base is powered through benzene. That's happening over here. As you can see, we've gotten the nice industrial coke oven. Oh, that has problems with soldering, right? Let's go fix that while we're here, shall we? Yeah, so if we go to the maintenance hatch, and then we can access that, we can fix the soldering. There we go. And now that we fixed that, we can run the industrial coke oven again. And that's producing power for the base with this distillation tower over here and these advanced distilleries. That's, combined with that coke oven, going to be producing benzene for us. And okay, we're running a bit low on benzene. Yeah, we're actually running quite a bit low on benzene. I'm glad I've managed to fix that before that's been an issue. But as you may guess, here we have the MV room. And this was the LV room. I guess it still is. We have the steam room over here. This was our old storage room, so there we go. Let's ignore that. Anyway, as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted. This is the MV room over here, nothing too fancy, mostly taken up by this EBF or LV as well. And this was the HV room. Now below the HV room, of course, is where we have another automation room. Here we have the titanium processing, for example. Here we have some extra stuff. And over here we've automated fertilizer now until the end of time. So fertilizer is done. We're never going to need to automate fertilizer ever again. Okay, but now that we've done that and we've automated fertilizer, single-use clean room. So this is the clean room if we want to do something like one-off, just run off one or two circuits or whatever. Or in the case of, for example, making these null memory chips, that happens over here. And then if we do want to come over, oh, let me grab some food. There we go. As I was saying, we have the automation over here. This is more of like the EV room, but also back over here we have the automated clean room. And a lot of these machines are, as you can see, running a bunch of automation stuff through them. So this is our old temporary computer setup, but we're now moving to the new base. So if we do come down into the basement, oops, sorry, wrong basement. If we do briefly make our way down over here, as you can see, we have this very, very bespoke doorway into our own personal dimension where we've been setting up a brand new computer to meet all of our needs for the future. We've gotten some new storage drives for that, getting that all nice and set up. Now over here, eventually we'd want to be growing crops to power the new benzene lines. And we've got the battery set up and all of those things over here. And back, of course, over here we have, for our power setup, already set up the Exxon Mobile Chemical Plant. Yep, this Exxon Mobile Chemical Plant is how we're generating all of the benzene. That's hopefully going to be powering the base. That's nice. Also, we do need sulfur for that, though. It's burning quite a bit of sulfur. So we are going to be growing netherrack over here. We've actually set up the thing, but we need to go process that now. That's another thing that we need to do. And that's going to be our source of sulfur, which is neat. But yeah, most of these machines over here that you can see is just involved in the benzene production. Now, we are technically using a slightly better benzene than normal, not the benzene used in oil base. This is nitrobenzene, so it's much more energy efficient. If we take a look at nitrobenzene specifically, or through gas turbine fuels, we can see that nitrobenzene burns to generate 1.6 million EU a tick, but the benzene we were using previously, well, that only burns for 360,000 EU. So the nitrobenzene is just so much more efficient and such a better fuel source, which is quite good because the power demands, as we're starting to get into IV and especially later, are going to get more and more brutal. I think by LUV, we're going to have to look at an alternative power source, but for now, I think the nitrobenzene should be more than enough. Otherwise, yeah, the base migration is going fine so far. I think once the pipeline is set up, we're going to be able to use more of the platinum in there to start doing things like IV dynamo hatches for the battery over here. and also for one of these multi-block combustion generators and all those things. Well, they're not really combustion generators, sorry. I'm still thinking of the old base where I was running high-octane gasoline. We're actually doing benzene in this run, so that's nice. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for the save. Haven't got too much saying. I mean, there is the Dwarven Hold. I guess we can go make our way over to that. Sorry, I just keep forgetting you're here. But if we proceed outside, very nice thing about this base is we're quite close to the end portal, but also we did think of setting up a bit of a mountain hold. And I may be wondering, why is there a mountain hold over here? And, well, it's really simple, truly. Oh yeah, there's a bit of an oil spill, ignore that. That was from our earlier oil spill industry. Shh, it's fine. Yes, as you can see, we found this pretty big mountain over here. And I'm not sure why, but the moment we found this mountain, I was completely and utterly overcome with a massive desire to shove a dwarven hold into it. So that is exactly what we've done over here. We've got the doorway built. Oh, the door is closed at the moment. 1 second. Sorry, the door is open. Let me just close the door. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's a bit hard to navigate this dwarven hold. You know, all these defenses are very substantial. But if we just close the door real quick, there we go. You can see that, yeah, this is the dwarven hold. This is the main doorway entrance to it. And once we come through, we haven't finished decorating this yet. Unfortunately, it's still very much a work in progress. We've got a massive bridge leading up to the nether portal. And below here, we have a massive basing made purely out of gold. Eventually, we want to fill this up with molten gold. And once that is done, we'll have our, instead of a lava mode, gold mode coming over through here. And you may be wondering, is this just a very, very elaborate way to enter the nether? To which I'll say no. There's also some elevators going down into these rooms where we're going to have some stuff, I think. We're just not really sure what we're going to have over here. But yeah, no, that's that. That's the Dwarven Hold. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this exclusive look into the next EU5 version, and I hope you remain excited for what Paradox has in the future. As always, thank you very much for watching, with a special thank you to my channel members, especially Ark, Solus, Lemon, Lozendikana, Kastan, Hatan, Star 72, the Awesome Rabbit, Best for Gaming, Grabmo, Flavia, Lebrule, W. Sov, Anthony 35, AC Napa, Conspiracy Pizza, Yukata, Danray, Malvi, Jack, Rylan, Stuart Allen, Andrew Black, Nebula, Centronic, Twinit, and Aquabird.